Okay, here's the story. I'm in a tiny pizza place in Boston, Massachusetts with my friend David, and we overhear another table mention that they're from Texas. And we're like, hey, we're from Texas too. What are you guys doing here? They say that they're just there visiting some friends. They ask us, well, we're there. We say, we're here to read Moby-Dick. And they're like, what? And we're like, yeah, every year in New Bedford, Massachusetts, there's a reading marathon where people gather in a whaling museum and read the entirety of Moby-Dick in 25 hours. It starts on Saturday at 12 noon, goes all through the night, and ends at 1 p.m. the next day. They have people reading out loud. Everybody else is just following along in their own book, and that's what we're here to do tomorrow. And they're like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, I guess. And we're like, yeah, it does.
I just finished a 25-hour Moby-Dick marathon with my friends. It was one of the craziest things I've ever done in my life.
I learned about the event last year from an Instagram reel, and it just seemed like such a wild and fun experience. I wanted to do this. Yes, it'd be cool to be able to say that I've read Moby-Dick. I know it's an important novel, it's a classic. Some people say it's incredible, but I also know its reputation, and it doesn't necessarily seem like the type of book that I would read on my own. And maybe this would be the only way that I could ever really experience it. And the experience itself actually sounded a lot more exciting than the book to me. You're in a whaling museum. It's all night long. You're reading a giant book in one sitting. This sounds very cool. And I thought maybe I would get to do it eventually, but then my girlfriend surprised me with the trip as my Christmas and birthday present. Because birthday, December 27th, that's me. And anybody with a Christmas birthday knows, in a lot of ways it stinks, but every once in a while somebody's like, you know what, I'm taking your Christmas gift budget and your birthday budget and I'm putting it together and you're getting something even bigger. Wonderful, great, thank you. And that's what my girlfriend did for me. The most generous gift, sending me and my friend David up to Boston to go to this event. And a week before the event, I'm pumped. More for the experience than for the book itself. Yeah, Moby-Dick, I guess. That'll be fun. I know its reputation. I know that people say like, yeah, it's incredible, but like, there are those boring chapters. There are those boring chapters that can be such a slog to get through and usually a deterrent that stop people from actually getting to the end. And I'm hoping that the reading marathon, reading it all in one sitting is going to help make those chapters easier to take in. But I mean, I'm not that excited about the book. So a week before, I decided I should probably look up some videos about it. So I'm sitting in a coffee shop watching YouTube video after YouTube video, and pretty quickly I'm like, oh, wait, this book actually sounds really good. The more I hear people talk about why they love it, the more I'm like, wait, am I gonna love this book? Hearing about how the main two influences on the novel are the King James Bible and Shakespeare. And I know it's from a time period where pretty much all writing is influenced by those two things, but it seems like the influence is so particular and shows up in many different surprising ways. One chapter of the novel is just written like a play. And all the allusions and references to scripture deep throughout the entire novel, and the language and the humor and the insight into humanity that this novel offers. I'm pumped. I fly up to Boston on that Friday, meet up with David. We take the subway to the tiny pizza place where we're judged by our fellow Texans. We hop on a train down to New Bedford, which, pause, God bless public transportation. God bless public transportation. We get to our hotel, check in, and in the lobby, we meet these two older people who are immediately like, y'all here for Moby-Dick? And we're like, yeah, we are. We start talking to them, find out that they're from close by and that they've been coming to this for years. They love it. They start giving us tips. You can bring water, you can bring snacks, you can bring a pillow, blanket. Some people bring a sleeping bag. There are rooms where you can sleep if you need to take a nap in the middle of the night. And as they're telling us more about it, I start to realize, oh wait, I didn't do that much research about this event. I was so excited and pumped about it. I didn't actually look into like, what is it actually going to be like? What rooms are we in? How does this all work? I found out way too late that there are even like special parts of the reading. Like one of the chapters is just a sermon that is delivered in a chapel for all of the sailors before they go out to sea. And there's a lottery system that you could have signed up for and get chosen to be one of the few people that during the reading for that chapter, they would go into a whaling chapel and get to sit in the congregation while somebody gets up at the pulpit and presents the sermon, and you get to experience it with everybody else. But there's limited space, and so there's a lottery. And it already happened weeks and weeks and weeks ago. I didn't get in. And there was another lottery, because the chapter that's written like a play, they bring actors in. And the little theater at the museum, they have the actors perform that scene out for you. That'd have been cool to see. I don't know what else there's going to be at this event. I probably should have looked up more about it. I don't know, I'm just gonna read Moby-Dick, I guess. But I don't feel like I have any time to look into it tonight. I gotta get to sleep. I need to make sure that I am wide awake and ready to go tomorrow. The morning of the event, we get up, go to a bakery a block away that is incredible. The smells, the flavors, if I think about it long enough, it's like I can make myself taste it again. That's how vivid and intense and memorable everything that I ate was. Delicious. We make a note of this place because we know the next morning we are going to be at the end of our ropes, and we'll probably need to come back here and get a little bit more. We also go to a convenience store to get supplies. I get some water, Gatorade, some beef jerky, and fruit snacks. And I'm like, this'll get me through 25 hours. And then we go to the Whaling Museum. We get there at 11, the thing starts at noon, but already the place is packed full of people. And the cool thing to note is almost immediately how wide of a variety of demographics are already here. There are elderly and young people, rich and not so rich, scholars and punks, teenagers who look like they're on dates, families that all came together. I don't know why it's so sweet when I see several parents with small children at the event. I know that there is a chance that the parents just brought them because they didn't have anyone to watch the kid, and they're like, I'm gonna go to this thing and you're gonna come with me no matter what. But also there is something sweet about it. Like introducing your children not only to great literature, but surrounding them with other people who also deeply love great literature. I don't know, there's something about that that's really wonderful. I mean, I also did think like, you're not staying the whole time, right? You're not gonna stay through the night with that kid, right? That doesn't seem good. The main room of the museum is 2 stories tall with this balcony walkway around the top and a big giant boat in the middle as a centerpiece. And there are already so many people claiming their spots of where they are going to be for the reading, and the boat is filled with people. And I think that that's the coolest thing in the world, and I clock it as I'm staring from the balcony, jealous of all these people in the boat. I'm like, at some point tonight, I'm going to read inside that boat, and it's gonna feel so cool. I'm getting in that boat at some point. But for now, I have this tiny corner of a bench up top, ready for everything to begin. In the novel, before the actual story starts, Herman Melville opens with all these quotes and excerpts about whales and whaling taken from all these different sources, from the King James Bible, Shakespeare, old whaling diaries, scientific journals. And at 11:40, people start going up to the microphone to read all of the excerpts. And I start to panic because it doesn't sound good at all. At all, it doesn't sound good. People are still milling about and talking. It's so noisy in there, and the microphone is not loud at all. I can barely hear and understand what the person is saying. Everything is so muddled. I'm trying to follow along, and it's not working.
There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. Psalms.
And I'm like, oh no. Is this what it's going to be like? Is this what the next 25 hours of my life are going to be? I can barely hear this person. I'm not going to be able to follow along. I'm not going to be able to follow along for 25 hours. I flew all the way up here to have this terrible experience. Oh no! I am panicking and trying to focus and trying not to lose my mind and trying to tell myself that maybe it's okay. Maybe it'll be all right. Maybe it's not going to be like this the entire time. And I'm right. It's not. Because the excerpts end right at noon. It's time for the actual novel to start.
Well, it must be Melville time.
And everyone calms down. The room is dead silent in time for the first reader to begin the first chapter.
Chapter 1, Loomings. Call me Ishmael.
And the entire room erupts in applause. and I get chills and emotional and real close to crying. And I know that that sounds silly and really nerdy, but there is something about the fact that every person that I had been telling for the most part about this event had looked at me like I was ridiculous. Like this is such a dumb waste of time. But now to be surrounded by so many other people who take this seriously, who enjoy this, who delight in this, who are going to have a great time reading this novel, and like they're celebrating literature and history, and there's something about the fact that we are all in this place together, which I didn't even realize New Bedford, Massachusetts is where the novel begins. This place is filled with whaling history. Herman Melville was thinking of this actual location when he is dreaming up the words that he is writing down. And all of these years later, people are in this place to experience this novel. And not only that, this is the 30th anniversary of the reading marathon. Who knows how many people have been here the entire time, and now they're going to experience it again. This novel that is so important to so many people, to the history of our country, to the imagination of the people who live inside of it, whether they realize it or not. And people are cheering. You don't just have to cheer at a football game. You can cheer a novel. Beautiful. It's good. It's good. The first reader is incredible. You can tell that this man has experience doing public readings before. And immediately I am blown away by the language. Yes, it's beautiful, but also like, I can understand it. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God this book isn't going to be like completely impenetrable. Isn't that a great feeling when you're afraid that something is going to be too difficult for you to read, and like as you're reading along, you're like, oh wait, oh, I'm understanding this. Oh, I'm understanding what they're saying. Oh, I'm not as dumb as I thought. I'm not as dumb as I thought. Some years ago, never mind how long precisely, having little or no money in my purse and nothing particular to interest me on shore, I thought I would sail about a little and see the watery part of the world. It is a way I have of driving off the spleen and regulating the circulation. Whenever I find myself growing grim about the mouth, whenever it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul, whenever I find myself involuntarily pausing before coffin warehouses and bringing up the rear of every funeral I meet, and especially whenever my hypos gets the upper hand of me, that it requires a strong moral principle to prevent me from deliberately stepping into the street and methodically knocking people's hats off, then I account it high time to get to the sea as soon as I can. And it's like reading it with everybody is teaching me how to read it. Like, there are so many funny parts, but I probably would have let the humor go right over my head if I was reading by myself. But now I'm surrounded by so many people and I'm listening for the laughs that the book is bringing out of them. And it's helping me notice the laughs for myself. About an hour in, I start worrying about the thing that I didn't have figured out yet. What about when I need to go to the bathroom? They're reading out loud. I'm following along. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to say that I read Moby-Dick and there's an asterisk next to it where it's like, oh, except for all the parts where I was dumping. I need to be able to still follow along. I didn't yet know that they were live streaming the reading. I could have just pulled up the YouTube video on my phone, had it play on my headphones as I walked to and from the bathroom. I didn't know that yet. So my plan was an audiobook that I had already on my phone ready to go. And I thought if I ever need to get up to leave, I'll just find the chapter that I'm on, press play, listen in my headphones, go do my business. By the time I'm back, I should be synced up, ready to continue with everybody else. Well, when it was time for me to try that the first time, I learned that my audiobook is not broken down into chapters. It's in sections. And when I try to find where exactly we were, I cannot do it. I'm walking to the bathroom. I'm missing out on so much. I'm trying to find the place. I cannot find it. Oh no! I have to be able to be along with everybody else. I do not want to miss any of this Moby. But fortunately, I did find another audiobook on YouTube for free that was broken down by chapter that I could use. Great. I listened to that, go to the bathroom, come back, I'm synced up. This will be my system. And then we have the first chapter where there's a break for a change of location, the chapel. And everybody who won the lottery to go listen to the sermon heads off in that direction, but everybody else disperses. They empty out. And I think I have the best idea possible. Everyone else is taking a break, but I'm going to go down front and I'm going to get a great seat. Not in the boat. I'm not ready for that yet. That feels too special for right now. I'm saving that for later. But there are some folding chairs down front and they're empty now. I'm going to get one of those seats. So I go down there, I find a seat, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and nobody's coming back in. How long is this chapter? Nobody's come back in yet. Oh no. And then an employee from the Whaling Museum comes in with a cart and starts taking away the folding chairs. And I'm like, oh wait, oh no, I missed something. And I realized I did. When we changed location, everybody else went to this room up top where the reading is going to continue. Just the opening ceremony was going to be in this giant room. The reading has continued. It's been going on for a little while. And when I get up to the room, I find it absolutely crammed, packed full of people. Not only is the room filled, but the hallway is spilling out with so many people that I can't even find a good spot in there. I have to be out in this kind of lobby foyer area outside of the room. And from there, I cannot hear anything that is being read. I am cut off from the public reading, and I'm so many chapters behind now. Oh no! So David and I come up with a plan. Let's just sit out here, we'll put our headphones in, listen to the audiobook at double speed as we read along, and not only will we catch up, but let's get ahead of where everybody else is reading. That way we can go off to dinner and have a real meal at a real restaurant, not worry about our time, and when we come back, everyone will have caught up to where we are. Great, that sounds good. Let's dig in. So we jump into the book. I am listening at double speed. I am reading along. I have a pen in my hand. I am taking notes, underlining, exclamation points, a question mark next to anything that I want to go back to and look at when the marathon is over. And I am enjoying so much of the book this way. Get through so many chapters. We are far ahead. It's time for dinner. For dinner, we walk to a place for fish and chips, and it's so good. It's nice to take the break to get out of there and walk around, and the food is incredible, and we are re-energized, and we walk back to the Whaling Museum to jump right back in. And now, I am starting to encounter the boring chapters. I see what people are talking about. All these chapters where it feels like everything stops and Herman Melville is like, hey, you want to hear a long lecture about what boats are like? Hey, you want me to tell you about how you tie a knot? Hey, you enjoying this story? Well, shut up. I'm going to tell you about whale bones for a while. And I already thought that going through the book all in one sitting was going to help make those chapters easier to take. And that was true. But the thing that I didn't expect was being in a whaling museum made those chapters so much more fun. I would be sitting and reading along and listening to the audiobook, but whenever I would get to one of the boring chapters, I would put the book down, slow the audiobook down, and just listen as I walk around. And now I am in a new context for all these words that he's saying. Because he is describing to me every little detail of a whaling ship, but I have walked over to a tiny model of a whaling ship, and I am able to look at all the pieces that he's describing as he's talking about them. There's one chapter that's just about the skeletal structure of a whale, just all the little whale bones and his little whale body. And I get how that could be a difficult chapter to want to get through, but when you're in a whaling museum listening to this, and you're literally standing in front of a giant model of a whale's skeleton, it's so much cooler. He's telling you about a whale bone in your ear, and you're like, that's the bone he's talking about. Oh yeah, I see. Oh yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was enjoying it. It was about midnight when it started to hit me. About midnight, I look at the clock and realize, oh, I'm only halfway done. I feel like I've spent so much time in this museum, in this book, but all of the time that I have spent, I have to do that amount again. From now until 1 p.m. tomorrow. Oh no. What the white whale was to Ahab has been hinted. What at times he was to me as yet remains unsaid. Aside from those more obvious considerations touching Moby-Dick, which could not but occasionally awaken in any man's soul some alarm, there was another thought, or rather vague, nameless horror concerning him, which at times by its intensity completely overpowered all the rest, and yet so mystical and well-nigh ineffable was it that I almost despair of putting it in a comprehensible form. It was the whiteness of the whale, that above all things appalled me. The rest of that chapter is literally just him being like, it freaks me out that the whale is white. You ever think about all the different things that the color white can symbolize? It can be positive or negative, beautiful or terrifying. We use the color white to mean too many different things at too many different times, and now this whale is white. What am I supposed to do with that? What is that supposed to mean? I think that that is probably my favorite of the tangent chapters, where the narrative completely stops and Herman Melville just goes off on a monologue about this or that. The whiteness of the whale, that one is a very fun one to read. And partially because that's the chapter I got to read in the boat. Look at me having a great time. But by about 2 a.m., the charm of these tangent chapters has started to wear off. By this point, a lot of the rooms in the museum have been shut down and they're keeping us in just a couple of areas. The room with the boat is shut down. Very sad. I wish I could stay in there all night. There's the main reading room, a couple of overflow rooms, including one that is meant to be the sleeping room. A TV is live streaming where everybody else is at, but half of the lights are shut down and people have sleeping bags lined up across the walls, and it is much more quiet. I am trying to do everything that I can to stay awake. I'm going on short little walks outside, hoping that the cold winter air is enough to freeze me into alertness. At one point, David and I find out about a smash burger place open until 4 a.m. We walk over there, get some burgers and some sodas, go back and continue reading. Every time that there is a tangent chapter now, I'm starting to lose it. It feels like Herman Melville knows that I'm trying to read this whole book in one sitting, and every time I feel like I'm getting closer, he just adds one of these tangent chapters just to mess with me in real time. Oh, I'm getting close. And Herman Melville's just hey, just stop what you're doing real quick. Hey, I know you feel like you're really close, but let me tell you a little bit more about whale bones. Hey, I know you're enjoying the narrative, and I know you're super tired. I know you're really close, but this is going to be really important. You ever notice that some mountains look like whales? And I'm like, shut up, Herman! By 4 a.m., I'm starting to take power naps. Just 10 to 15 minutes here or there where I'm closing my eyes to help me keep going. Not long enough to fully fall asleep, which so many other people in the sleeping room have completely given up. They are totally conked out. It feels like some of them brought way too comfortable of a setup with their sleeping bags and pillows and blankets. It feels like some of them were like, hey, you want to go camping in a museum while other people read Moby-Dick? That would be a fun experience. There was one guy who I'm pretty sure by 5 p.m. was just laying out on the floor of the museum, not in the sleeping room, not even with a copy of Moby-Dick on his chest. He had another book there. What's this guy doing? Is this guy just always wanted to sleep in a museum? At 6 a.m., I walk back to the hotel listening to the audiobook. I'm going to take a shower, take my Adderall for the day, freshen up before the last stretch. And I'm pretty frayed. I am so sleep deprived, and it just feels like everything is whales. All of my thoughts are whales. Everything that I've been reading is whales. Everything that I'm looking at, it's all whales. Even my girlfriend Jess, she thought it would be fun to have her own whale-related marathon while I'm reading through the book, so she gave herself the challenge of illustrating 26 different whales through the entire time that I am at the marathon. So I have picture after picture of whale. Whale Abraham Lincoln, a whale made out of rocks, happy whales, sad whales, some as big as your head. All I'm thinking about is whales. I stop by the bakery to get one more delicious treat as I head back to the Whaling Museum for the final leg of the marathon. I decide that I'm just going to do as much of it on my own as possible. I'm just going to find a spot, put the audiobook in, and read along and just lock in all the way up until right before the last chapter. I just need to go at my own pace and experience this on my own, and right before the last chapter, I'll pause and wait for everyone else. So I am going. I am trucking along. I am going chapter after chapter, and towards the end, there are a lot more chapters where I'm putting big question marks, because some of them I'm just like, I don't even know what I just read. I have no idea what just happened, but I have to keep going. We are almost towards the end. At one point towards the end, Captain Ahab starts hallucinating, and he has a conversation with a character who died earlier in the book. But the way that the narration is written, it doesn't just immediately tell you Ahab is hallucinating, and that's why he's talking to this character. No. The narration is just like, oh, and then Pip's there. And Captain Ahab's like, oh, Pip, what are you doing here? And you're reading it and you're like, wait, what's Pip doing there? I thought Pip died. And you're supposed to be like, oh, Ahab is hallucinating. That's what's happening. But when you haven't slept all night, when all you've been doing is read this book and you come to this point and it's just like, and then Pip's there. You're not thinking of Ahab's hallucinating. You're like, am I going crazy? Is this really happening? Am I reading the right book still? Is Pip actually dead or is he alive? What is Pip doing here? What's Pip doing here? Probably the coolest overflow room in the museum is the little theater lecture space that they have, with a giant screen where they are projecting the main reading room. And when I get up to right before the last chapter, that's where I go hang out, waiting for us to get to the end. And it was nice to listen to the chapters that I had just sped through on my own, because there were definitely some moments where I was like, oh, that's what that meant? Oh, that's what that person said? Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Who, with triumphant mouth, stood up in his boat, etc. He could hopefully hail. Ahab's voice was heard.
At one point, one of the readers got up and started reading in German. And just like Captain Ahab hallucinating in the book, there was no warning ahead of time. All of a sudden, someone is speaking German.
Kapitel 114, Der Vergolder.
And when you have not slept all night, and you are so tired and feel like you are losing your mind, and someone starts speaking a language that you are not ready to hear, that can trip you up. And you might have a split second where you're like, oh no, did I forget how to understand English? Did my brain break? Am I alone? Am I supposed to understand?
Thank you very much. We're going to pause the regular reading here at the end of chapter 113. We'll pick up with 114 in English in a few minutes, but we're blessed to have some foreign language readers. They're going to take us through chapter 14, first in German.
And then we get to the last chapter of the book. And by this point, I am standing in the back of the theater. I have to be on my feet if I'm going to try to stay awake, but I want to be in here with everyone else. There's a giant screen live streaming the main room. But the way the lighting is, I can't really tell what's going on. I can see the shape of a person. And when the reader gets up and starts reading the last chapter, he has a great voice.
Chapter 135, The Chase.
And a voice that's like kind of familiar. I feel like I've heard it before. Is it one of the readers who read earlier? Is it one of the first readers that we had? It would make sense because this guy who just started, it is incredible. He is a great reader, just like some of those first people. But then as he keeps going, you start to realize like, oh wait, this guy isn't just reading it. This guy is performing. This guy is giving it everything with his dynamics, and it's loud and it's quiet and there are these pauses and you can tell that he has put time and effort. This has been rehearsed. And every other reader up until that point had been switching off every 5 minutes. 2 podiums. As one is finishing, another is standing there ready to go. But nobody is coming to stand next to this guy. He's just going and going. And at a point you realize, oh, he is going to take us to the finish line. This reader is going to give us the entire last chapter. And I am so grateful for that because this performance is incredible. So much of that last chapter is just one long monologue given by Captain Ahab while he is losing his mind. And this performance is capturing something in it that I would have never gotten if I had just read it on my own. It makes so much sense that King James Bible, Shakespeare being the 2 main influences. Yes, Moby-Dick is a novel that should be heard, read aloud. This thing is mesmerizing. No one is talking or looking around. Everyone is completely still, fully locked in with this performance. He is taking us to the highs and the lows. He is devastated. He is angry. Every feeling, every moment. There is no way that I would have gotten as much out of that chapter if I had just read it on my own, but something so special about hearing this performance all the way to the end. The epilogue, the last words. It's over.
Then all collapsed, and the great shroud of the sea rolled on as it rolled 5,000 years ago.
And you're cheering because you did it. You made it through the marathon. You're cheering because the book was so good. You're cheering because of that final performance of that last chapter. One of the organizers of the event goes up at the end, thanks everyone for being there, and says that she wants to introduce us to that final reader. Would you come back up here, final reader? Ladies and gentlemen, Steven Weber. And I'm in the back of the theater and I go, what the hey? People are looking around like, what? Who is that? And I'm like, he's an actor. He's an actor on Wings. I know that he's on so much more than Wings, but like I am in a sleep-deprived state and childhood Taylor loved Wings. And so of course it's the first thing that I said. But also Steven Weber has read audiobooks that I've listened to before and his performance is always incredible. No wonder he would be such a great fit for this. I cannot stress enough how good the performance was. But he tells us that he had actually read Moby-Dick for the first time a little while ago and fallen in love with it so much that he was the one who reached out to the marathon and asked if there was any way that he could be involved. And I am so glad that he did, because that was the greatest way that we could have ended that day. I loved the book and I loved the experience. And I would absolutely love to do it again. What are you doing this January? You want to fly into Boston, get bullied at a pizza place, and then take a train down to New Bedford, Massachusetts, where you are going to sit in a whaling museum and read the entirety of Moby-Dick in 25 hours? You want to be able to say you've done something crazy like that? You want to see what all the fuss is about when it comes to Moby-Dick? You want to experience a live reading of some of the most beautiful words an American has ever written? I feel like I'll be a lot more prepared this next time. I want to sign up for the lotteries. I want to be one of the readers. I know the snacks that I should bring, the restaurants to visit, the clothes to wear, the comforts to have with me anytime I need to take one of the power naps. And I'll be prepared for the smell, which it wasn't a big problem, but as the night went on, it started to smell more and more like a youth group lock-in. And you just got to be prepared for that. It would be really cool to meet up with a ton of people there this next year. It'll be fun. You should come. Let's go read Moby-Dick together.